Well, all I can say is it's so nice we had to show it twice.
All right. That's all right.
Hey, 22nd day of March. What's going on, family? Out there in social media world, it's yours truly, Joe Dupree from 100 BLK, the Black Station, along with my good friend Edward J. Brown from Positive Choices Counseling Service. And it is another Wellness Wednesday where
Yes,
a
sir.
healthy you,
Is a better you.
and we're talking about you being healthy holistically. We already got some people jumping on. Big ups to LaDavia. I see you on here. Blessings to you also, my sister. How are you doing? Listen, share this with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is where we have the conversations about your mental health because it's okay not to
To
be
not
okay.
be okay.
And we are here to tonight talk about family secrets. And we're going to be
Ooh.
having some real deep conversation. You
Ooh.
can join in on the conversation. Let me go ahead and put this up here where you can know what's going on. So I actually have two numbers. So let me grab both my numbers and show them to you. There you go. If you want to call in and be a part of the conversation, there's two numbers you can call. You can call 917-408-3773, or you can dial 225-250-8770. Once again, the numbers are 917-408-3773, or you can call at 225-250-8770. We got the phone lines wide open. Got my brother Edward J. Brown in the building.
What's
Brother
going
Brown,
on,
how
brother?
you doing, my friend?
Man, it's good to be seen.
Yes,
It's
sir.
good
And
to
not to
see
be
you.
viewed. And not to be viewed.
That's right. That's right, man. What's been going on, man?
Hey, it's another day, brother. I mean, I've been putting in work, trying to do a lot of stuff to keep people entertained, informed, and inspired. But I am blessed that God has given me a platform to do that on. And this is the cherry on top of everything I do. I look forward to the Wednesdays because I know we tackle issues of that are very much not tackled many times in our communities of color and taken
That's right.
seriously, and
That's
not
true.
knowing that suicide and depression is at an
Mhm.
all-time high in our communities. But guess what, family? We're here to talk about it, be about it, and hopefully come to a place where we can all have some clarity and some solutions when it comes down to your mental health. So with no further ado,
But
my good
before you
friend,
go to that, man, let me ask you something. How was the awards this weekend?
oh, the awards, which one?
The T awards, it the T
No,
award?
that's April 16th. That's
Okay, I thought
April
it was this
April
weekend.
16th.
Okay, okay.
I'm gonna throw it up there that you still can go vote in the whole nine, but it's
I'm
April
looking
16th.
forward to seeing that, man. I'm gonna try to make it.
Okay, okay, yeah, we need you. I need you in the building, my brother. I need you in the building. I'm glad you said that. Now that
Yeah,
you done said that, we're gonna make sure that I need you and the missus in the building. I'm saying.
I'm gonna try to make sure I make it, man.
Okay,
So I tell you what, man. Let's jump right into this.
okay.
Um, last week, we kind of gave a glimpse into what we were going to talk about this week, and it's always amazing that Brother Dupree and I, we always say we try to choose the topics, but society and the things that go on in life actually choose the topics for us.
True.
And one of the things that we said we wanted to talk about is the impact of family dynamics on how we feel, on its impact on our mental health. And one of those variables that weighs heavy on who we are is the dynamics of family secrets.
Hmm.
And it's funny because every time I bring that up in class, I always ask my students, if you don't know your family secrets, that means you ain't in the loop.
And
Because
everybody got secrets till they get
every
caught.
family has
Every,
its secrets. And if you
everybody
think
got
your
secrets.
family does not, you ain't in the loop.
That's right.
It's that simple. So let's kind of jump right into what impact does family secrets have on who we are?
Mm.
Well, the first thing is you have to understand not knowing what were driving and motivating factors to the people that reared you gives you no insight into why they're the way they are.
That's very true.
I have two brothers. My father had when he remarried. My father had two sons, and one of them was very young when my father passed, and the other one was preteen.
Mm.
So the one that was very young doesn't have very much to recall in regards to the man that my father was.
Mm.
But one day we were all together, and I just started talking about, how my dad was and the way he was on me and how he was tough on me in certain areas. And my youngest brother, who's now mid-30s, I think, early 30s, he had this look on his face and he said, I never knew that.
Mm.
And he had no idea the things that made my father the man that he was. So, to be able to wonder why my dad was this way or why he was that way, you needed to know certain things.
Correct.
So when we sit here and we talk today about family secrets, it's not always a traumatic, oh my God, dun, 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 dun moment. Sometimes it's just you need to know why people are a certain way. Let's
Correct.
say your mother and your father was overprotective.
Mm-hmm.
They were just strict. But why were they strict? Sometimes these conversations need to be had. Sometimes they need to be thrown out there. And you will be very surprised what you pull back in with your fishing rod.
Mm.
Sometimes you get, just leave that alone. Uh-oh, leave what alone? Well, we don't talk about that. Why don't we talk about that? Here's one that I went through the other day, and as we go throughout this hour, we'll touch upon a number of different things. I've been asked this question several times. Should you tell an individual that they're adopted?
Well, now I can go down this rabbit hole. We can.
I knew that'd get my brother involved. Yeah,
we can go down this rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm about to be 56 years old, and I reflect back when I was always told I was an adopted child, but I didn't, because the state I was born in, which is the great state of Tennessee, didn't until I forgot the year, but I believe I was around 37 years old. That's when they passed a law, because that law exists in the state of Louisiana, and I believe in the state of Mississippi, that once you're adopted, your records are sealed forever.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have the ability to go and inquire to have those records open to find out who your blood relatives are. To me, that's dangerous. That's dangerous for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Unbeknownst to me, when I was in college, and I still laugh about this, I went to a party that I was in college, and when I met my blood-related family, I wound up meeting a young lady who happens to be my sister, and she remembered me from that party in college.
Mm-hmm. Now imagine if you had hit on your sister. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel that when an individual is old enough or at the age where they're competent enough to handle it, because I'll be honest with you, I went through a lot. I had to go through a lot of counseling and a lot of other things when I found out I was adopted, and the secret that was revealed. And then I come finding out that I have so many other siblings. But at the end of the day, you need to know this thing, because at the end of the day, you really need to know whose DNA. I said this to my children.
Correct.
I have in me generations of DNA of folks I don't even know.
Correct.
And I carry that DNA with me everywhere I go. And I have passed that DNA on to you. So you will have, unless you decide not to have children, you will have a passing of your DNA, that the generational DNA keeps on going. But I can't trace it back to the first one. Of course, biblically, I can trace it back to Adam and Eve. But I literally cannot do like Alex Haley and track back who was the first person in my blood lineage that landed on this continent in this country, And who was the first one? I don't know that, but I know I carried that person's DNA in me.
Mhm. Mhm. There's so many reasons why family secrets are destructive, and one of them, in regards to you talking about, genetics. There are things that we keep and we don't talk about that truly impact who we are. The first thing we got to talk about is, who are we? And
Right.
sometimes family secrets keep us from knowing who we are. So we talked about the idea of, well, hey, do you tell a person if you adopt an infant? Do you tell them they're adopted at some point? You know, and I've always said, absolutely, they should know. At a particular time in their life, you should sit down and you should have a conversation with them, because they need to know genetically where they come from. Here's a couple of reasons. For medical reasons,
Right. Right. Right.
you may have a history of cancer in your family. And whether or not we want to believe, you know, this is a genetic trait, it's been proven certain medical conditions are genetically passed on from one generation to the next.
Correct.
So for that reason, and that reason alone, there should not be family secrets in regards to paternity, which is one that we have. So I just saw something online I think last week or so, where a guy and a girl, they were dating, got married, and had children, and later found out they were brother and sister.
Wow. Wow. Or let me give you even one that brings on mental anguish, because I, in my own family, in my biological family, experienced this. I have an older sister who did not know that we had the same father. She was raised in a very nice home with a very good mother and father. Her father took terribly sick. The man that she had called father all her life took
Mhm.
terribly sick and needed a blood transfusion. So,
Wow.
of course, the first person running to the doctor to say, "I'm here to save my dad,"
It's his daughter.
right, until mama had to pull her outside and say, "Look, I need to tell you something that I have
Wow.
never told you."
Now
That's that
imagine.
that's not a good time to give that
Imagine.
type of news,
Yeah.
and it really did something to my sister.
Yeah.
I think, our biological father has passed away, but I could tell that did something to my sister, because I know it would have did something to me. My strange circumstances of coming on this plane of existence has
Mhm.
me sometimes very much going, "Okay, God, what's the purpose?"
Okay.
Because I could have left day one.
Okay.
But what's the purpose? So, I know that, see, that's a secret. That's a
Mhm.
secret. And many a times mothers keep those secrets. Mothers
Mhm.
will have a man thinking that that's his child all these
Mm.
years,
Mhm.
and it's not his child. And
Mhm.
then how do you handle that? Family,
Correct.
we really got to talk about this. Especially, let's think about it. There's guys out there who have paid child support for children that later on they find out the child's not theirs.
Not even theirs. That's right.
Wow.
That's right. So when we start talking about things like family secrets and how it impacts who we are cognitively, we can talk about, does genetics give me a higher, am I predisposition to have cancer, or
Diabetes.
hypertension, or diabetes, or things like that. But here's something that we could take this entire hour to discuss. There are studies being done that behavior is genetic as well.
Mm.
So when you start, and now I'm gonna get real 1970s right
Country.
now.
Go and get country on them.
When people say, "Baby, watch who you having them babies for,"
Because you
you
know that
can't be
family
having
crazy.
them babies for everybody.
They're crazy as a Betsy bug.
Now, at the end of the day, as light as may be making this, it's very important that we look at the topic and the issue of, is behavior something that can be passed on from one generation to the next? And we're not talking about through exposure. We're talking about through genetics. There was a study done. Now listen to this, Brother Dupree. There was a study done with mice. Of course, they use poor mice for everything. But they took two mice. They took the mouse and they ran the mouse through the maze. And at the end of the maze, they would smack it with a spoon.
Wow.
Okay? So they let the mouse run through the maze and they would smack it with the spoon. They did this repeatedly until the mouse would run the maze and they would show the mouse the spoon and he would immediately run in fear. Okay? Now, here's the interesting part of that study. They mated that mouse. Okay? And the offspring from the mouse, they put into a separate box. Had never been exposed to a spoon.
Wow. Never.
When those mice saw that spoon, they were terrified. They were absolutely terrified. They had never been hit with the spoon. They had never been touched with the spoon. It was just shown to them. And they ran in fear. Why? They're trying to show that the behavior is passed on from one, gene to the next gene, therefore to the next generation. Now, you'll say, why is that important? Because the first thing that I get as a therapist, 30 plus years, that boy got an anger problem. Well, he only 3 years old. How does he have an anger problem?
You got it from daddy?
Hey, every time he take a toy from him, he tear up the room. So, was that inherited? Or did he learn that behavior at some point?
And furthermore, we have to even ask the next question, which I think is a deep question also. Why is it everything that is bad come from the daddy side of the family? I just got to ask that question. I just had to put it out there. If the child is smart and intelligent and good looking, they got that from the mama. But everything bad, if anything that child does bad, honey, you know how his pappy is and his people. Why all that come from the daddy side?
I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that.
I was just saying.
Well,
that's our comic relief. Back to you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, we are living in a society where we have some prejudices and some biases. So,
correct.
It's easy to say when a child is bad, he get it from his daddy. But when the child does well, that's like asking, you can go outside and spend, 18 years teaching your son, throwing the ball with him, making him, the excellent football player. And next thing you know, he go to college and he score that big touchdown. And as soon as they put the camera in his face, what's the first thing he say? Hi, Mom. And you sit there like, but I'm the one taught you, so, that kind of falls in the same thing. There's not much validity in it, but it's easier to say. So getting back to our point is to be able to say, I know my family dynamics. I am in tune to my family secrets. It's not a petty thing. That's the first thing we need to talk about as well. Wanting to know family secrets does not make you petty.
Come on, speak on it.
It does not. It does not mean, you're just a busybody. Sometimes we need to know family secrets, but even more so, you got to ask yourself, why do we have them?
Right.
Why are they even necessary? So, 9 out of 10 people who keep or who are involved in the loop that protects the family secret will say it's for protection.
Right.
Number one, we don't want the family to have a black eye.
Correct. A bad name amongst
a bad name out there. We don't want people to think we not good people.
Right.
So you have certain people in the family dynamics who are responsible for keeping the secrets. Now, again, you have to look at why. Why do you keep the secrets? Because we protecting the family. We protecting you. We're protecting the good name of Medea or Poppy or whoever it is. So we do not let people know family dynamics, family secrets. But when we get back to making sure that the family structure is solid, family secrets can't tarnish. Now, do you remember Soul Food, the movie Soul Food?
Do indeed. Do indeed.
All right. There's a scene where the cousin sleeps with one of the sister's husbands.
Correct.
And right when she comes in the house for service, the Sunday dinner, the woman said, "Oh, who invited her? She ain't supposed to be here." And right when she turned around to leave, the older sister said, "No, she's family. Let her come in." My point to that is family secrets can only do as much damage as you allow it to do. So if there's this ugly secret that's hanging within the family and you're using it to protect the family from what?
Well, let me
because here's the thing, Brother Dupree. Let's say you find out the worst thing in the world about me, and you my brother. Now that you know that thing, does that make you not my brother?
Oh, no, sir. You still
so
my brother.
Family secrets can never make us not family. Blood does that.
Right. So let me ask you this, though. And I was thinking about this because somebody messaged me about this. So why haven't you got that one uncle? You know, we all got him. Every family got him. Uncle, cousin, that literally is a little bit too touchy, feely. That one that even your mom, look, don't be sitting in so-and-so's lap.
Yeah. Don't leave the children around him by yourself. Yeah.
Right. I mean, just think about it. I mean, these are real issues, and especially in the state of Mississippi, since you're a professor at the Alcorn State University, and I'm in Louisiana. Listen, in the South, I can name it: Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, all the places in Texas. They all got folk that said, look, you got to watch him. You know, and that's kind of like a family secret. You know, like you said, there are folks who have literally brought babies into this world that are all right because they normally say it's not good to do the incest thing. It causes major issues. But there are people who have brought children in the world, and that's their lifestyle. And I mean, and people try to keep that a secret. It'd be like, you don't really know that child, the daughter is actually the dad is just crazy dynamics.
Family secrets. We're talking about family secrets and family dynamics. You know, at the end of the day, what I've learned in 30 years is that family secrets don't protect. Family secrets, it's like an infection that you do nothing for. You know there's an infection, and you just kind of walk around with it. You walk around with it. You never get it looked at, and it continues to infect certain things in certain areas of your body. You have to get to the point where we decide family secrets will not change us as a family. What it will do is it will no longer be those rocks in our pocket that keep us tied down. I'm going to tell you whatever it is you want to know, because I love you unconditionally. And what we have to think about is family secrets. 9 out of 10 times, not every time, family secrets are a mistake made by someone within the family.
Wow. Say that one more time.
Family secrets, more times than not, 9 out of 10 times, are just mistakes made by someone within the family.
Now, look, family, this is a good time for me to say it. If you want to join in on the conversation, if you yourself don't look, you don't only have to type it in on social media. If you literally want to call in and say, listen, I have a question or I have an issue, I have something that I feel needs to be discussed, you don't have to give your name. You just have to call. And there's the numbers on the screen. You can call us at 917-408-3773 or 225-250-8770. If you want to join in on the conversation, if you want to interact and say, look, since you are a licensed clinician, I got a licensed clinician in the building, and you want to be a part of the conversation, those are the numbers to call. You feel free to call in.
All right. So, I want to get back to that particular part of we talked about 5 minutes ago, where we talked about the impact of behavior on family secrets. If you feel as though you are being shunned by a particular group, because every family seems to from time to time form these cliques.
Correct.
And certain cliques are the ones that have access to the family secrets.
That's true.
What has a tendency to go unspoken is, do you realize the impact of being an outsider of that clique? Now, I'm not just talking about, within my own family. I'm talking about in every family. Show you what I'm talking about. Have you ever been in a situation within a family structure where when a conversation is getting ready to be had, certain individuals go into another room?
Yeah.
Kirk, come here, let me talk to you. You and Junior, come in for a minute. I need to talk to y'all for a second. Now, we all in the room. Immediately, we begin to say, why am I not asked to come into the room? Now, if you don't think that, wonderful, great. But average human behavior will make you say, well, what is it that has to be said out of my presence by people who are my family? If you, brother, and your wife, Brother Dupree, and your sister, and all of a sudden you and your sister say, you know what, let me talk to you in another room. I got something I want to ask you. Immediately, other people are like, well, why can't you ask that in front of me?
Right. What is it that you need to ask that you cannot ask in front of us?
Ask in front of me.
What's really going on?
So now we begin to have these feelings, and we begin to have these thoughts. And now, just like Mission Impossible, that fuse is lit. So as we start to talk about how we feel, does anger become an issue as a result of family secrets? Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
I had to be a grown man before I found Uncle June was in jail for 6 years for molesting somebody. Right. Like you just said, he a little over friendly.
Right. We just don't talk about that. Right.
We don't talk about it.
We just don't talk. Or in my case, here I am, an abandoned child, a child that was wrapped in a newspaper in an old coat and was discarded underneath a building, a dilapidated building. In my biological family, I was just that kid that was dead and gone. That's how they did it. Correct. That's how they did it. That was it. Kid didn't make it. Yeah, we heard what happened and we know what our auntie did or what my sister did, but the kid didn't make it. And then all of a sudden, 30-some years later, guess who comes knocking up at the door?
Yeah, here comes that kid. Yeah.
Right. And I'm pretty sure after those many years of really lying, we need to do something about that too. The consequences of the lies. Because now you lied so long that your lie has become the truth. And it's hard then when the real truth shows up for you to denounce the lie. Because a lot of folks, folks who know me and folks who have seen the story and know the story, because I made the Memphis newspaper many years, moons ago. I was on the Oprah show with Antoine Fisher. But people remember this part. My mother never admitted to doing what she did. And in all earnestness, the first time I was able to lay eyes on my mother was the day she was at her funeral.
Oh, wow.
I found this out, and I'm still, I forget the years, because sometimes I really do forget the years. I found out like in September. My mother passed away on Good Friday. Good Friday is never a good time for me, because my biological mother, and the first time I saw her was at the funeral, which was a week later.
Okay.
And that's the first time I ever, and here's the craziest thing. I have a daughter that looks just like my mother.
Wow.
But she never denounced her story. That's not my child. I don't know what you're talking about. Even when people say, well, we do recall you being incarcerated for this. Well, that's not the child. That child didn't make it. That's not him.
Right. So now as we talk about those dynamics, you can actually say, this is the way I felt.
Right. Correct.
This is what family secrets caused me to feel.
Right.
This is what it did to me as an individual. So for those who are participators or who participate in family secrets, to be able to truly hear what they do to an individual is very profound and it's very important.
Right.
Because you believe is protecting the family is actually driving a wedge within the heart of someone that needs to know that information to move forward and heal.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you had been able to know about your mother and then go on to meet her and say all the things that you wanted to say, but even more so than that, hear her feedback.
Right.
I say, let me tell you where I was at that point in my life.
And the craziest thing is that old saying, and it permeates here in the South. Some things we just gonna take to the grave.
We're gonna take to the grave.
And that's
what this show is about.
Because it terribly hurts generations of young men and young women in a terrible way. Because guess what? Watch this. So, and I say this because hopefully this will help somebody, and I'm trying to keep my composure when I say it. I come to find out one of the main reasons I was discarded was because my mother was quite promiscuous, and my grandmother's boyfriend had been rumored to be sleeping with my mother. And the whole dynamics was because of certain dynamics in that household. It was put together that we got to get rid of this kid because it's really my boyfriend's baby.
Mm-hmm.
So, family, this is why I say all the time. And it took one of my children to say this. Sometimes you really do need to ask yourself, man, who am I laying with? Correct. And who am I making kids with?
Correct. You don't have baby for just know anybody. Mm-hmm.
Listen, and that might sound ugly to some folks, but you have to understand, for 37 years, I knew I was adopted. I had permeated in my head my own fictitious story and lie of what had happened to me. And when the truth hit me, it brought me to my knees because I had never fathomed that. I thought the people who adopted me, I said, well, he probably got a child somewhere and I'm really his grandkid because I look so much like the people who adopted me. But as they say, if you feed them long enough, they begin to look like you. Because I have a son that's from my ex-wife that's living with her and her new husband. And everybody seems to say, well, he looks just like him. No, that's not his child, but you feed him long because they said the same thing about I had a stepson that stayed with me, and everybody you say he looks just like you. You feed him long enough.
Because I've been feeding him. That's all I've been feeding him.
Right. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is that it's hard sometimes to face the reality and listen to me with these family secrets. It's sometimes very hard for us to look ourselves in the mirror and come to right standings and truthfulness with ourselves and say, hey, I messed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mother called me 2 weeks before she died and she asked me, had I ate? And I remember I was so upset.
Wow.
But at the same time, I was so happy that she called me. I was mad and happy at the same time. So here's my first word. I remember that conversation like it was yesterday because my response was, okay, let's play this game. Do you know who you're talking to? Because I got a brother that's a year older than me, and I got a brother that was a year younger than me. My younger brother, who was a law enforcement officer in Memphis, has went on to glory. But now it's just me and my older brother, and me and my older brother don't even speak to one another. So once again, family secrets and dynamics.
Family secrets, correct. Family secrets.
But when my mother called and asked that, she said, I know exactly who I'm talking to. I said, so who are you talking to? She said, oh, this is Joey. I said, okay. Yes, I ate. Did you eat? I said, we're going to play this game. But I found out now that I'm older and she's gone, that was her way of really trying to let me know, I want you to know I know who you are.
Correct.
Because I told her, look, I remember this as clear as day. I told my mama, I said, Mama, listen, you ain't never got to admit to me and say sorry to me for anything. I said, because I'm only on this side for a temporary time. But I said, please get that thing right. That when I cross River Jordan, I said, I don't want to be on the other side and not be able to deal and see my real mama. I said, now the woman who raised me and her husband, that's my mom and dad.
Correct.
I said, they always will be. But I said, I sure would like to every once in a while just come down the road
and visit you. Yeah.
And holler.
And be welcomed.
And
it'd be okay.
I said, so you don't need to get it right with me. Because I've been told that when you cross the river, it ain't about being right with me. It's about being right with him. So I said, whatever you got to do to get it right with him, that when I cross over, you can be one of the people I see. I said, we good.
Yeah.
And I meant that. There's seldom in my life I said some stuff that I felt all throughout my fiber and my being, but I meant that. And you know, and that's why I tell folks, listen, be truthful with your babies. Listen. And stop being one-sided. And this is for some men and some women, especially if they're going through divorces and if they're going through relationship issues. Be truthful with your kids. Either tell your kids the absolute truth or don't say nothing at all. And
don't lie.
Please. You can't lay with a man or a woman and make a child. And all of a sudden, some years later, that person, the worst person to slice bread, because somewhere along the line, when them kids become adults, they look back at you and say, something wrong with you, because you ain't for. Oh, I'm pretty sure you wasn't mad as hell when you were making us.
Amen. Now you preaching.
All right.
And,
back to our regular scheduled program.
And in all honesty, that's true, because we have a tendency to do what we call project, which is we project our feelings onto other individuals. And you got to be very conscious of that. You know, very few know that my son is not my biological, because he and I, he was 4, making 5, and he's 41 now, 42. And I was it. And we went through the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs. And we didn't have time for no foolishness, because I was raising him in the city of New Orleans. And he was all, he was rambunctious. But his biological was a fool. And I remember as he was growing up from 5 to, I think, 16 or 17, he used to ask me, he said, why do you never say anything negative about my biological dad? I said, that I don't think that's my place.
Right.
I said, everything he is, you will learn when you become an adult.
Right. Because you're a man of integrity. You a man of integrity. See, people don't get that. First of all, let me say this. As parents, you should never say anything negative about the other parent. Period.
We need to start talking about that co-parenting show. Next week's topic just reared its head.
Right. Co-parenting.
Co-parenting.
You should never. And you should never kind of clandestinely, because see, some people try to be nickel slick. They try to say
Not nickel slick.
Yeah, nickel slick.
Try
They
to
try
slick
to
a
be
can of
nickel.
oil. You
They
can't
try
slick
to
a
be
can of oil.
they try to be nickel. So because they know they really trying to, on a smooth way, show you something bad about your dad or your mom, but they don't want you to ever look them in the face and say you said. So they kind of just give little hints like, well, such and such didn't happen, or such and listen, real men and real women of integrity understand that's just a child. And if you've ever been through half the things that I've been through, childhood is something precious to me. I tell my children all the time. I have a child right now that is 14, about to be 15. And like I told, man, you better enjoy this time, because when it's gone, it's gone.
It's gone.
And at the same time, we are, by our DNA. The funniest thing is, my father was somewhat abandoned by his father. I'm pretty sure if I talk to some folks, his father, because somewhere down the line, one of my ancestors was kind of mixed with some other folk and looked a lot like some other people. and back in them days, if you look like them other people, you kind of try to hang around them other people and not be around your own people. So but nevertheless, them people knew you kind of like, you don't belong here, and you don't belong there either. Right. So family, we got to listen. Somewhere along the line, we got to wake up and start being very truthful and brutally honest with one another, because what we are doing is, I believe we are, and though I can't prove it clinically or medically, I believe we're passing on generational curses.
Absolutely.
To future generations.
Absolutely.
By us saying, you know what, I just, so when all of a sudden a person say, well, there's a lion spirit, well, the lion spirit is, hold up. And the lion spirit can't be just because you want to use that lion spirit to point out the good and the bad qualities between you and the other person. Your mama's people always lying. Well, you lie too. Your daddy people always lying, then you lie too. Your mama. Now look, I can tell folks. I tell people all the time, when it comes down to my biological mother, I know she was promiscuous. I can say that. You can't. I can't.
Correct.
You can't. Because I have to somewhere come to full circle of what really happened. And if that's what it takes for me to do, to come to full circle of what really happened, that's what I got to do. And sometimes you got to look yourself, sometimes you got to look your good self in the mirror, and you got to come to the realization that maybe your mama and daddy ain't together because your mama and your daddy both are kind of got some problems. And
they have issues.
You can't just put it on one side. You just can't say, well, daddy had to did this. Let me tell you something. It take two to make it work, and it take two to break it. One person don't break it by themselves. And the seldom times, I be exact, I have never in my 50-some years of living.
All right, here we go.
Found a situation where one person by themselves
was all right, and one was all wrong.
Because watch this. If I neglect you and your needs for 90 days, then I turn around and find out within those 90 days, you did something that I felt you
went and had those needs fulfilled.
Wait a minute. You on purpose made sure that you did not live up to your obligation and expectation. Sometimes we got to look at ourselves and say, what did I contribute to these unfortunate series of events that made this domino start falling? Because guess what? They didn't fall on their own.
Okay.
Back to our regular schedule program.
Mr. Brown. So as we're talking about the impact of family dynamics, family secrets on family dynamics, we have to look at the long-term effects. We have to look at the short-term effects. And we have to look at the part that we play in carrying this particular dysfunction from one generation to the next. Because here's the interesting thing. If Madeir had a secret in the family, and before Madeir died, she passed that secret on to you. And that secret is something that has been hanging over the family for years. It's impacting the family. Certain people in the family don't speak to one another. We don't have folks included in things. It is your responsibility, as you just said, Brother Dupree, to break that generational curse.
Mm-hmm.
And say, just like I just used early on in the show, that scene from Soul Food. Well, I'll just leave. No, sit down and we will work this out as a family. We will work this out together. You're my sister, no matter what. But too often we believe we're protecting the family from something.
Correct.
From
I mean, Brother Brown, think about this. And I think Tyler Perry illustrated this in the best way. And it's strange to me because a lot of folks, because I was looking at the top 5 Tyler Perry movies, and this was not there. But Tyler Perry came out with a movie called The Family That Prays. P-R-E-Y.
Correct. I remember that.
And if you watch that movie gives you a very good demonstration of what happens with family secrets and how folk in your family will be the one plotting and planning your demise, and how you got to sometimes navigate that in order to just have a peace of mind. Because at the end of all of this, here's what I want you to take away from this. Learn to protect your peace at all costs.
What was my mantra for 2020? Protect the peace.
Come on, let's get it.
And we still are doing that in 2023. So we've taken 50 minutes of our life that we're never going to get back to talk about something that we feel directly impacts your mental health, and that is family dynamics, family secrets, how these family secrets are passed on from one generation to the next, and they're doing damage from one generation to the next. At some point, we have to start looking at the impact that family secrets have on the family, its divisiveness, how it creates a sense of deception within the family, and decide that we're going to break it. We're going to break this particular cycle. I have something I need to tell. It's funny. There was when I was in graduate school many years ago, there was an old puzzle, not a puzzle, but a cartoon. And the cartoon is, the mom said, it was Nancy. You remember that cartoon, Nancy?
Yes, I remember Nancy. Yes.
Nancy and the mom came in and there was a broken lamp. In the next scene, mom says, Nancy, who broke the lamp? Nancy was like, I don't know. The third was like, Nancy, you don't know? I have no idea who broke the lamp. She said, well, when I came home from school, the lamp was already broke. She said, really? Yep. She said, okay. If that's your story, you stick it to it. Yep. They walked into the park, to the garage, and mom pulled out, it was like a paddle or something. She said, now, when you walked into the house, I was in the kitchen. I saw your book bag knock over the lamp. Then I saw you take the lamp and sweep it under the table. So the point of that was, I knew the answer to the question that I was already asking you.
Right. All you had to do was tell the truth.
All you had to do was tell the truth. What we are doing in our society is we're perpetuating this dysfunctional behavior from one generation to the next.
Correct.
By nurturing. That's important. By nurturing family secrets. By nurturing and keeping, and I'm going to use myself. I think my daughter maybe was 17, 16, maybe. And she was always, and she's still that way today. Daddy, let's talk. And I'm like, okay. She looked at me being 16, 17 years old, and she said, Daddy, have you ever smoked weed?
The question.
And at that very moment, I looked up and I said to myself, okay, and you know how you get those two people on the shoulder? One says, if you say yeah, that pretty much gives her the green light.
Correct.
The other one says, well, if you say no, you're lying.
Right.
I said, you know, Leah, I said, Pumpkin, your daddy has smoked marijuana quite a few times. That's how I know it's not a good thing. And she kind of looked and she said, yeah, because if you had said no, I was going to ask you, how do you know it's bad if you've never done it?
Right. I mean,
and my response to that was, well, I ain't never killed nobody either, but I know that that's bad too. You know,
right.
So, you know,
Right.
I ain't never run over nobody with my car, but I know that's not a good thing.
I'm an adult. I got some rabbits in my hat now. You're not smarter than me. But see, but here's the thing. And I really want folks to feel our hearts in this.
Mm-hmm.
We come on here and we take our time out because we have a long list of stuff. And like you said, we're going to talk about co-parenting
next week. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. Do you let that man that ain't his daddy whip him?
Right. So, you know,
yeah.
In family, we've got to start having these uncomfortable conversations. Why? Okay. If you haven't noticed, this world is going through some serious issues. I turned on the news today, and in Denver, Colorado, there is a 17-year-old boy
stabbed 114 times.
No,
is that the one?
No, this one shot two people at his school because they were searching for a gun, and he pulled out the gun that they were searching for and shot both the people who were searching him. One of them is in critical condition, and the other one's in critical but stable condition. So that a 17-year-old or a young man who's not even an adult yet is bringing a gun to school. Man, we in some rough times. We in okay, and I'm gonna say some stuff right now that's gonna be kind of uncomfortable to some people, and if you don't like it, just log off. We in the times where if you or I do something that is against the law, we will be held to the highest letter of the law.
Correct.
And nobody's going to come and say, well, you know, Joe, okay, let me give you some titles. Joe was the Grand Master of the Masonic Lodge of the state of Louisiana. You should give him a break. No, they're going to say he should know better then.
Correct.
But we got other folks that folk jump out and say, it's a witch hunt. No, if you broke the law, you broke the law. Listen, it don't take no rocket scientist for me to figure out if you broke the law. Last time I checked, this is for all my spiritual folks who want to jump behind folks and defend them. There's 10 commandments, 10 of them. One of them said that you shouldn't fornicate. I swear to God, one of them 10 commandments say that.
If you do say so yourself, huh?
Well, I'm just saying. So how? Okay, now you want to talk forgiveness. Now wait a minute then. Hold on. I'm not trying to be critical of anybody. I'm just saying understand this. The word of God say, judge ye not, that ye be judged in the same manner. Guess what? I am a sinner, saved by grace, make mistakes every day, and am thankful that my God has told me on many occasions, you know, you don't deserve this blessing I'm about to bless you with, but I'm going to bless you in spite of yourself.
None of us do.
And guess what? He always reminds me to bless other folks, because just like I blessed you and you didn't deserve it, you need to bless others when they don't deserve it. That's why and I need to say this tonight because some folk need to catch this, because we're going to stay on until we get tired tonight. That's why me and this brother, I believe, do some of the things we do with folk. Because guess what? We know what we have is really a blessing. And I'm only in this life wanting to be blessed to be a blessing. And I understand there are some times that God should have bent me over and pulled out that paddle and whooped my behind until it will bleed.
Look, and there was sometimes that he did.
Right. And there's sometimes he did. But guess what? Through it all, what the devil meant to put me in the grave. Because listen, y'all stop sitting around trying to tell folks devil trying to take houses, cars, and stuff. Devil don't want your stuff. Devil never did want your stuff. Devil wants your life before you get to your place of purpose. Because if you get to your place of purpose, you will change other folks' lives. So
Preach.
stop lying to folk, telling folk that the devil trying to take my car, my house, my husband. No, he trying to take your life before you get to that place of purpose. Because if you get to that place of purpose, then you'll find out that the car don't really mean nothing.
That's right.
That the house don't really mean nothing. All that money don't really mean nothing. What you'll find out is your ability to plant a seed in your future generations that they don't have to go through the crap you went through will make you a blessing beyond. That will make it that they'll walk by your picture and say, that's the one right there that changed the whole game for all of us right there.
What'd you say? That right there? Is that what you always tell me when I said that right there?
That right there.
You know, so as we sit here and we talk about the reasons why we do this, what we intend to do every Wednesday when we get together. It's not like, as you say, there's some folks out here that's playing podcasts, and there's things that we do from our hearts and our souls, like talking about family dynamics, family secrets, and the impact that it has on individuals.
Amen.
Tonight was very, we living in a crazy world, which I just saw. There's 2 school shootings in Dallas. I got family that live in Dallas.
Come on.
I have family that live in there. That bothers me. I was just watching, before waiting on you to come on. There's a young boy, he's 17 now, stabbed a girl. He was 14, she was 13. 114 times.
Come on now.
They were walking home, and they going to trial. What's the trial about? He pled guilty. But these are the worlds that we're living in. So now you might say, bring the 2 together. Here's the 2 coming together. We already live in a crazy world. Why do we need to have crazy family dynamics?
Come on.
The world crazy enough.
Come on.
Start to live an open, communicate appropriately, be inclusive, not exclusive. You have, like you said, brother, I have not spoken to my brother. I know at some point, because I know you, my brother.
Right.
At some point, you're going to be like, you know what? That's enough of that.
Right.
Yeah. Timing is very important too. We need to do a show on the importance of timing.
Correct.
So I think as we come to the end of this podcast, that we start to look at why we did this. And to sum it up, it's so that you know the hurtfulness, the destructiveness, the actual infectious impact that secrets have on a family. I spoke about my youngest brother not having a lot of memories of my father. He gets excited, as does my son. He gets excited when I talk about my dad, because of all of them, I had the most time with him on this earth. I watched him go from the young man to the middle-aged man, and then we lost contact because I was off becoming a man of my own. But there are no secrets that I have that one of them could not ask me that I would not be honest about.
Right.
I would never want to pass that on to one of them. So if you didn't take anything else from this podcast tonight, take away the fact of what family secrets and how important family dynamics are in the formation of who we are as individuals.
Right. And understand this. And understand, because many of you, because I see it on social media all the time, many of you say your worst enemy is folk in your family.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that way. But, you shouldn't. Look, I have to go back to Brother Malcolm. Brother Malcolm said, who taught you to hate yourself? Come on, family. We all got to do better. Time is short. I tell you how short I've figured out the time is. I'm a big John Wick fan. And the brother who played on John Wick, who also played on The Wire,
that's right,
was me an outstanding actor. And to see, and me knowing that I'm only 4 years from being the same age that he was
Wow.
when he passed away.
Wow.
Stop playing around like you got all the time in the world. I'm going to leave you before I pass it back over to my brother Brown to have the final word with this. Remember these letters, FFH. I call it facts, feelings, and hearsay. Family, learn to stick to the facts. Stay out your feelings and don't listen to hearsay. If you do that, I promise you, about 95% of your problems won't be problems. Brother Brown, close us out, my friend.
I'm going to say something that I've learned, just like you said that. You know, when you look in the mirror, stop looking for perfection because you're not going to find it. But what you will find is somebody that's on the way to being the best them that they can possibly be. Now, I'm saying that again. When you look in the mirror, stop looking for perfection and look at what you see, which is someone that's on the way to be the best them that they can be. And here we are at the end of another Wednesday. And if you didn't hear it today, what we always say, if nobody else told you, we love you. Peace. We'll see y'all next week.